Hi guys, Tyson from Body for Life here, and I'm pleased to bring you the first of hopefully what is many blogs. So I'll be running a couple of things. One will be a blog, and then also on another part of the website I'll just be reviewing the latest scientific papers and breaking them down into sort of more easily understandable bits, because I know how difficult a scientific paper can be. I used to be a microbiologist, did a 3-year degree at Adelaide Uni for biomedical science, and then went and did honours and half a PhD before we set up our cafe, because I realised there's no money in science. So I know my way around a scientific paper. Any advice that I give is based on, firstly, my personal experience and also my scientific background. Some of you may have a different point of view, that's fine. I'm saying very clearly from the outset, this is my perspective. So, what I want to answer today, and I'm going to keep this video under 10 minutes, is I'll basically give you my 5-point plan to understanding what supplements are, what you might need to match your goals, and how to assess what you need and how to go about using them, all right? So, point 1, what are supplements? Well, at the end of the day, what supplements are is in the word. And that sounds obvious, but if I had $1 for every time someone came in and expected a group of supplements or even one supplement to do the trick for them, I'd be a very, very rich person. Specifically, supplements are there to fill gaps in your nutrition. Now, that nutrition is going to depend on what your goal is that you want to achieve, and I'll come back to that in a minute. But also as well, supplements can play a role in assisting you to get better nutrition given everyone's busy lifestyles. It is not, and these are the things I tell you supplements are not. They are not a magic bullet. They will not fix a problem. And in fact, for me, they come well and truly behind nutrition, exercise, followed by supplements. So if you just focus on those points, I think you'll be able to better understand, firstly, how much attention you should be paying to supplements, and then your approach to them. And it'll fit in with the next part of the video, which is number 2, absolutely critical. Before you start, know your goals. Don't come in with a fluffy, open-ended goal of, I'm gonna lose 20 kilos, or I'm gonna stack on 10 kilos. Reality is that that's really, really hard and takes a really long time. You need to have a plan of attack, break it down into bite-sized, manageable pieces, because knowing your goals is going to determine the subs that you need and therefore the budget that you're going to have to spend on them. And also with your goals, know the time frame you want to achieve them in. As I said, it needs to be realistic. And then how you achieve those goals is going to entirely depend on how committed you are. I talk to people sometimes about, well, maybe tweak this, tweak that, and they, no, I can't change that. Well, you ultimately control how close you're going to get to what your final goal is. No one else. So point 3, and this leads in very nicely. Once you know your goals, you can build a macro calculation around that. So there are a number of sites, bodybuilding.com, etc., a few others. Go in, pop in your height, weight, everything about you, how hard you exercise, how difficult your day job is, and it will spit out a protein, fat, and carbs figure, which I've cross-referenced against MyFitnessPal, which is an app that we currently use, and works perfectly well, because that will then tell you, if you need 240 grams of protein a day, and you track your eating, and you literally, and this happens, most customers I talk to are probably only getting between 140 to 180 grams of protein. In a lot of cases, they need 240. Then you need to supplement with protein from somewhere. As an example, we're on the last day of peak week, so we have oats and egg whites for breakfast, and then 4 lots of 160 grams of chicken, 180 grams of broccoli, I'm being rough here, Kent pumpkin, 180 grams, and 75 grams of avocado. That is a lot of food to eat 4 times a day. I like eating, but it's a drag. I would much rather or find it easier to eat less and have 1 or 2 protein shakes or a protein bar to hit that goal that I need to maintain my muscle mass. What you have to understand is what you're doing, whether it's building muscle or burning fat, these are not natural processes. Everyone thinks that, building muscle is this, I just throw lots and lots of food and protein and away I go. From an evolutionary perspective, your body does not want to carry muscle. It uses lots of energy at rest. It's an inefficient tissue. It's heavy to lug around. It takes away resources potentially from the brain as well, because it's quite glycogen heavy, and so is the brain. So it's not an easy thing to build. So getting your macros spot on is going to give you that target you need to hit every day to try and be, firstly, in a calorie surplus to build muscle, but also be getting the right mix of nutrients. And you'll find as soon as you start counting your macros, it forces you to eat well and eat healthy. And then you just plug the gaps with your protein, your supplements. And the same goes with losing weight. Losing weight is not a natural process. Again, everyone thinks that it is. The reality is your body wants to hold on to fat. Fat is its last line of defense, it's storage. And most people notice if they're 20 kilos overweight, the first 10 goes quite quickly. It did for me when I was 113 kilos. The next 10 gets harder and harder and harder. And your body is essentially going, shit, we're low on our fat reserves here. We need to hold on to this as much as possible. So again, fat burners, they do a great job. They trick your body into dipping into those fat reserves a lot easier and a lot quicker. That's their main job. If you are not in a calorie deficit, get your wallet, set fire to your money. Do not bother buying a fat burner. As much as I'd love to sell more product, that's the reality of it. So, again, from the point of view of how well you want to achieve your goals, if you want to lose X amount by X amount of time, then how strict you are with your macro counting in particular and your food recording in particular will determine that. If you want to deviate from it and not compromise certain meals or whatever, then you're not going to achieve your goals. It's that simple. So, point 4, your approach to subs. So there's a couple of things, quantity versus time, or quantity and timing. In the end of the day, just be a little bit wary, particularly with mass gainers. If they say 1 serve is 3 scoops and they have it all after training, don't do that. My approach is about, particularly if I'm trying to maintain or build muscle, about feeding my body a consistent amount of protein all times throughout the day. Not just having a shake in the morning, no more protein throughout the rest of the day, and then do my training and whack down 30 odd grams a whey. Reality is you're probably not going to make the most of that. That's why I tend to recommend people don't just go pure whey or whey isolate, that they go a multi-source blend. Again, that's a little bit controversial, but that's my perspective. And that's where timing is important. And if you can save some coin by dragging your serving size out, most of these mass gainers that we sell are a 2-week serve, apparently, according to the company. Well, I would recommend making them a 4-week serving lot. So straight away, you're saving money. Brands versus brands. Don't get carried away. In this industry, you get what you pay for to a degree. So the really, really, really good pre-workouts are going to be absolutely loaded with quality stuff that you need. The utter crap ones are not. And, the same is with protein to a point. If you want to go buy a cheapo protein from Coles or Woolies or Chemist Warehouse, for instance, understand the reason things are cheap is often because they just don't have the same quality. Once you get up to the level of what most of your supplement stores stock, it's good quality New Zealand or Australian whey, tested for protein spiking, all that sort of gear. But once you get up to this level, don't go, oh well, I've heard about this brand, everyone loves this brand, so this is what I'm going for. If you can save, like I've got a product I'm looking at right now on the shelf, which is $70, and another one which is $90, and I think 5 out of the 6 different measures that I would base the product on, the $70 one beats the $90 one every day of the week. Yet, do you know how hard it is for me to try and convince people that they're better off saving their 20 bucks? They might be able to get an additional product or not, or just save 20 bucks, because it's the mix of sups which is going to give you the result. You know, one super fantastic sup is not going to make the changes. It's, you know, at the very least, I tell people, whatever your goal is, protein, branched chain amino acid, get those two all the time. So, you know, the $20 difference basically almost buys you an amino acid. So that's the other point. But then taste. General rule again, if it tastes amazing, it's got lots of stuff added to it to make it taste amazing. Gone over 10 minutes here, I'm so sorry. So, you know, all of these products are natural. I hate this concept that, you know, I get all my protein naturally, and these aren't natural products and da. Well, I'll give you the big tip. Most people aren't getting most of their protein from their diet. That's the first point. The other point is protein is natural. It's just to make all of these things taste amazing, they have to add some form of sweetness. If you want to go el natural, go your hardest. It is, some of these things are horrific tasting, but they're not, you know, some guy in a lab boiling up this stuff like a bloody meth lab or something. These are natural products that you're just taking in a concentrated form because the training that you're doing or the goal you're trying to achieve is not a normal, natural goal for the human body to do. Like I said, building muscle is not normal or natural. Burning fat rapidly is not normal or natural. So that's another point. Taste, as long as you can stomach it, if it's cheaper and of the same quality, get it down. Point 5, final point, do your research. Do not just trust reviews. Certain stores are aligned to certain companies, so they will advertise the absolute crap out of them. We're not big enough to be cared that much by too many companies, so I do everything evenly. If you ask me a profit margin on something, I'm more than happy to tell you. And don't just trust online blog websites and stuff like that. Ultimately, again, there may be some commercial agreements. What's the background? If you want the real truth about sups, go onto something like Google Scholar, search papers, actual scientific peer-reviewed papers. They are hard to get your head around, and as I said, I'm going to do a video just sort of telling you what to look for. But that's the stuff where you're going to find the real facts about supplements. And you start to find some interesting things as well. So they're my 5-point plans. Know what supplements are, firstly. Understand them, respect them. Know your goals. What do you want to achieve? Then build your macros around what those goals are. And then your approach to supplements. You know, maybe rethink it. Maybe, you know, not compromise brand for brand or get too hung up on taste. And then point 5 is be open-minded with your research. All right, don't trust everything out there. I am telling you now, this is my view, my opinion. I've backed it by my scientific research and my personal use of supplements. And yeah, if anyone in future wants anything else spoken about blog-wise, flick us a Facebook message, whatever, email. Happy to answer questions from my view. And yeah, excited to bring you some more info about supplementos.